to Gilbert Arenas' coldest killer debate or talk, where they're trying to figure out who was the coldest killer, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, or Kobe Bryant. And it's wild. And from there, I'm gonna have takes from my girl Sports T. Shout out to Sports T. If you haven't subscribed to her channel, if you don't know about her channel, check out Sports T. Really good content, great content creator. Can't speak highly enough. Sports and Fitness Rants, another one that is highly entertaining, very passionate, knows a lot about basketball. Check him out. And also going to talk about Dreamers Pro. And so let's go to our first reaction, which is Gil's Arena. Who's the coldest killer?
Better killer. Jordan, LeBron, Kobe. Put them in order.
Killer?
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. There you go.
I'll go.
I don't care.
How do you,
go get it done.
Right?
Go get it done 6 times. Every time I go.
They all still killers at the end of the day.
No,
I go
and that's the problem.
I go Kobe.
With the argument.
No,
right?
don't matter. Somebody got to win.
When they say this guy is a pit bull and this guy is a cat, but the cat has more kills, total kills at the fastest mark, has more accuracy at killing, but you're calling him like you can't. You got to change how you use stuff.
Don't care about that.
Little
it don't matter. You have, but you
not
listen. At the end, right. We just want you to kill one person. We don't care about that little shit. We don't care about that little shit. Just get it done.
You have to change how you use stuff, because if you're calling me softy, but I'm busting your ass, it says more about you down. If you're saying this guy's a killer and this guy's soft, but this guy has way more kills in a faster time, you can't use those. You gotta describe it a little bit different.
No, I don't. Just get it done.
I'm trying to figure out what he means by way more kills. Is he talking about the stats, his points, I'm trying to understand where Gil's coming from with more kills, but we'll keep going.
Just get it done. Nobody wants to pity pat around. No, get it done. Michael Jordan, every time I go, get it done.
Yeah.
Killer.
But he did get it
done. Six times. Killer.
He did
Kobe
get it
got
done.
it 5.
Okay, well,
Took you.
he has time.
Three of them came.
Took you alone.
Three
Took
came
you
as a side.
And 3 of his came back. 3 of LeBron's.
I mean, Mike went to go play baseball. What are you talking about? Like,
huh?
Playing golf.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like when you really want to throw it out there, like you guys only use metrics when you want to.
No.
And you only use metrics when it's right for you. You only use metrics when it's right for you.
Option 2, still, yeah.
But still, he's a top 3 best shooter.
It don't
ever.
matter.
You can't say that.
It don't matter. You can't discredit what someone did. If you're saying you're a better killer than me, right? If you're saying you're a better killer than me.
Quick sidebar. And he's talking about, D Wade was, LeBron and D Wade played together. It was D Wade's team in 2011. He was the #1 go-to guy. So, okay, so LeBron was essentially a sidekick in 2011 when he went to the Heat, and he's about to kill Kobe for being a sidekick to Shaq, but LeBron, to their point that they were trying to make, was 2011. The 2011 finals was D Wade's team at that time. So the GOAT was a sidekick for that season or that finals. So I mean, he's trying to discredit Kobe while uplifting LeBron. Is it working? We'll see.
At the same rate, I beat you to 500 kills, 1,000 kills, 2,000 kills, 5,000 kills, 10,000 kills, 20,000 kills. Every kill chart
and you got 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, but
that's the main thing.
Right, that's the main thing we care about. We don't care about that.
But
if
three
you're
of them.
leading my team, if you need a win, and you got 4, and the other person got 5, that means he's a better.
But but
all you do is just shooting. You're just doing a lot of shooting. You might hit a lot of, but you ain't gonna hit the main.
But
you gonna kill all his homies, but you ain't gonna kill the leader.
But the reality is,
that's what you saying.
But reality is,
that's what you saying.
Reality
almost
is,
got there.
But I almost got there. But 3 of my big kills, I'm doing this. Hey, shoot him right there. I'm the sidekick. I'm not the main.
That's fine. But where?
Who? The guy who had 3 championships by the age of 22. He wasn't the main guy.
Oh man.
Like I mean, we love him, but are we gonna talk real sports?
Are we gonna talk?
He was the sidekick until he got rid of Shaq and did 1-2 for himself. So technically, when you're looking at it, he was a sidekick for 3, 2 as a real main character. Does that not factor in?
D-Wade.
Or are we just gonna say, oh, he got 5?
I got drafted there.
D-Wade.
I got drafted there.
D-Wade. Chris Bosh.
Sidekick.
Okay, guys.
Okay, that's where it stops, and we'll listen to Sports T here in a second. But you heard Gilbert Arenas. I don't get why he's saying that LeBron was the killer, a better killer because he was I guess his kills came early. He killed a lot of people early or whatever. I don't know. I don't understand what he's saying, his logic there, but we'll get to DREAMERSPRO, who breaks down some numbers that will, kind of debunk some of that. But Gil, I don't know. I don't think he's Clutch Sports. I don't think he's being paid to say these things or to uplift LeBron. I think he's ultimately trolling. I mean, we've seen that there's a sector of content creators that he's not too fond of, and most of those are Jordan fans. There's some Kobe fans. He seems to have shifted his whole narrative of Kobe being, one of the greatest for some reason after Kobe passed. I don't know. I don't get it. Gilbert Arenas has been going on for a while, but he's kind of shifted his mindset some about Kobe. But for some reason he feels that LeBron getting the earlier kills or getting them quicker means that he's the coldest killer. And let's stick with the killer with that comparison. So if you're a person hiring an assassin, I need you to go out. Here's your contracts. I need you to go get this done. So one guy gets it done 4 times, but you give him 10 contracts. Another guy gets it done 5 times. You give him 7 contracts. The last guy gets 6 assassinations, and you give him 6 contracts. Who is the coldest killer of that bunch, of that 3? Is it the one that gets you 4 out of 10? Is it the one that gets you 5 out of 7? Is it the one that gets you 6 out of 6? I mean, the math speaks for itself. I mean, that's a different type of comparison, and it lacks the context that goes into all of this. But if you're the greatest, if you're the coldest killer, then you should be killing at every level. You can't be killing at, I'm sure you guys have played first-person shooters and killed. You can't kill the little, or even Elden Ring. You can't kill the little, guys before you get to the boss, but can't beat the boss. So if one guy's beating the bosses, no problems, and if another guy's beating the bosses, no problems. But if you're having problems with the bosses, but you can kill the side characters, the NPCs, the little characters, you can kill them at a quicker rate. You got the build to do that, but you can't beat the bosses. Then are you really the coldest killer? But let's listen to what Sports T had to say about this, who she reacted to the coldest killer. Once again, shout out to Sports T. Check her out.
Honestly, pretty much the entire panel about 8 months ago, back in April, May, something like that, they've all said that LeBron wasn't a killer. He didn't need to be. He was doing it his way. Gilbert Arenas even went into it being a different era. And if if guys were afraid of Michael Jordan, then, they weren't a real man. What is it? That's just weird, saying that you're afraid of a player. It's all just right. I mean, I just don't understand why we're revising history and we're literally changing our take. Gilbert Arenas a couple of years ago.
I mean, not to stop, but yeah, what you're saying is if Gilbert has to be consistent, if he's saying these things and then all of a sudden he's changing his mind, and in that time frame, it's not like LeBron's won any new championships, unless you want to count the NBA Cup, which do any of us count the NBA Cup as, an achievement right now? But other than that, what accolade has he had since 2020? A Western Conference Finals blowout, getting swept there. Is that the participation trophy type of deal? So why the change? Why the change all of a sudden that Kobe was just a sidekick? He's not a cold killer, but LeBron, he got it done the quickest, so he's got to be the main killer because he got to certain accolades, certain points in his career at certain stats quicker than these guys. Okay, but did he do it and complete the goal, which is winning a championship? Did he do it and be the best player in the league? Debatable. So let's keep going. And she makes a pretty good point about another player. So we're going to keep going.
Go was a good show. I was talking to Mel from Man Down Sports. Shout out to Mel from Man Down. And we were chatting about this a while ago. And, we talked about how good Gilbert Arenas' show used to be.
Mm-hmm.
He used to keep it real. But now it just seems like he's on the payroll for Clutch.
I don't think so.
And 8 months ago, Gilbert Arenas talked about it being a different time. Michael Jordan killed everything. He dunked on everybody and he killed everyone in his path. He is the greatest killer.
Easily.
If killing and stats ever mattered or was ever the benchmark for greatness in basketball as an NBA player, then Luka Doncic would be considered the GOAT when his career is, over or trending.
So yes, Luka Doncic, technically, we can't compare ages, but we compare number of seasons. He's doing it at a higher clip and a better clip than LeBron. So is he the coldest killer? Is he a colder killer than Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant? Because he's the main guy and he's done it quicker. Like he's making the point for LeBron James. So the fact that he's gotten to certain statistical highlights quicker than LeBron when it comes to number of seasons wise, is he the coldest killer?
Or even right now, why don't we consider Luka Doncic the GOAT right now? Why not? Look at this graphic. Gilbert Arenas' point was that LeBron had all these kills faster than Michael Jordan and Kobe. He killed everything and he killed all these stats. So in Luka Doncic's first couple of NBA seasons of play, he's beating LeBron James in every stat. Points, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, free throw percentage. He's beating LeBron in just the first 370 games that he played in the NBA. Would you guys say that Luka is better than LeBron? I don't think anybody would say that. He can't run, jump, or dunk the fucking basketball. But I mean, the stats don't tell you that. The stats don't tell you.
I mean, I don't think that matters if you don't dunk, but that's just me.
You that Luka Doncic doesn't run, jump, or dunk the damn ball. It doesn't show you that. It just looks like a really great stat line. It looks like he's better than LeBron James. And so this is what, the Brondashians want to tell you when they're talking about the GOAT and when they're talking about, these comparisons, these dumb comparisons. Stats can tell you a story, but your eyes have to make your decision. Your eyes have to make the conclusions. Stats might tell the story, but your eyes make conclusions. I can't say it enough.
Okay. So that's the end of her clip. I agree to a certain extent about the whole eye test and stats. I mean, the eye test sometimes doesn't always tell, for us who have played basketball, that have followed it, that know basketball, yes, the eye test can definitely tell the truth. But to a casual, somebody that's not, that watches it, that supports it, that maybe has never played it or played it at a basic, YMCA level, they might not see all the nuances and the intricacies going on in a game. So I think the eye test is a factor, but stats do help in that regard. I can speak for it, speaking for my son, you can't see, and this is something that, goes back to the GOAT debate. Defense is one of those stats where you can't quantify. You can't quantify defense because defense is an effort stat. So you can't always look at the stat sheet. You can't look at the box score and say, oh, this person played great defense, lockdown defense, because you can't, you can see how many shots a certain guy missed, but you don't have the context of, did he miss just because he was off? Did he miss because, there's great defense? So, the eye test and that thing is hard to measure certain things when it comes to that. But I do get what she's saying, So yes, so her take for, this whole coldest killer debate, you can't, I don't see how he's measuring it by who did it the quickest. Because players, if we're talking about, who did things the quickest and that makes them, greater than anybody else, then what about winning championships? Magic Johnson won the championship his first season. So does that make him the greatest player? Tim Duncan won his second season in the NBA. Does that make him, and we're going to get to Tim Duncan later with Kwame Brown, but you can't, those are measurements that don't make sense in the sense of how he's trying to make it. But let's listen to my man, Sports and Fitness Rants, and his thoughts on and his reaction to the coldest killer topic this week.
And the topic was, who's the coldest killer? LeBron James, Michael Jordan, or Kobe Bryant. And I didn't really have to listen to anything that Gilbert Arenas was going to say. I really didn't have to listen. But I'm getting tired of them always putting LeBron James in these discussions where LeBron James has no business being in. And Gilbert Arenas is like a clown, man, because Gilbert Arenas is always contradicting himself. You guys remember that John Stockton stuff, a month or so ago, a couple months ago? That was probably the last time that I interacted with Gilbert Arenas when he came to my channel and he was crying in my comment section about the stuff that I was talking about with John Stockton, how John Stockton exposed him and blah, blah, blah. Gilbert Arenas, once again, tried to play the victim here. He tried to make all these excuses. Oh, I was a rookie here and blah, blah, blah. There's always something. But there's the same guy that was trying to tear down John Stockton or talk about the way that he was dogging out John Stockton when John Stockton was 40 years old. So once again, Gilbert Arenas likes to, like I said, paint himself in the good light, but then he'll play the victim in other times. And he's constantly contradicting himself. He'll talk about Kobe Bryant's his favorite player, but every chance this man gets, he'll tear down Kobe Bryant. That's why when he came to that show that day and Scap called him out or asked him about Kobe Bryant or to rank them or how you could have LeBron James above Kobe Bryant, or to explain it. He couldn't explain it. And that's when I went off on him. And I said, dude, you're a joke, man. You're an absolute joke. You're sitting here trying to explain and come up with your criteria as to what you respect about certain players or why you would rank a player above another player. And everything that he said contradicted having LeBron James above a Kobe Bryant, man. It makes no sense because he knows the facts that LeBron James is nowhere near in a conversation with Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan, especially when it comes to being a clutch time performer, when it comes to being a leader, when it comes to being a true competitor, when it comes to being a professional, when it comes to galvanizing your team, when it comes, like I said, to all of these things that we're talking about on these channels, man, and especially when it comes to being a cold-blooded killer on the court, just being that guy. A killer on the court, right? We hear people say this all the time, man. Oh, Michael Jordan's a killer out there, right? You'll hear interviews of players, and they'll say, man, Michael Jordan was an assassin. He'll just come after you. Like when you hear like Vernon Maxwell speak, he'll be like, man.
Oh, wait for his Vernon Maxwell impression.
That Michael Jordan, man, he's a straight killer out there on the court, Michael Jordan. He don't care about you, man. I try to get into his head. I try to talk to him. I try to get him off his game, but it don't work with Mike. It don't work like that. He uses that as fuel, and he throws it right back at you. That's why Michael Jordan's that killer, man. That's what Maxwell was saying. That's what all these guys say. You hear Hakeem Olajuwon talk about Michael Jordan and how he dominated other superstars? He dominated other superstars. That was Hakeem Olajuwon's exact quote. Right? He said if Michael Jordan was an animal in the jungle, he said that Michael Jordan can lay out on the biggest rock and no one would dare challenge him. That's what he said. Now, if you guys know the way the African jungle works, it's the Sahara, right? How Africa works, right? The survival of the fittest. How does it work? Right? Survival of the fittest, right? So a lot of times, man, you see these animals, right? I remember seeing an episode of National Geographic where you had this Nile crocodile, right? It was the biggest crocodile in the area. And this crocodile was literally could just lay out there and no one would dare go near that crocodile. No one would challenge him for one bit. That's what Hakeem Olajuwon's referring to, right? If Michael Jordan was that lion in the jungle and he was out there on that rock, no one would come and challenge him. No one would come near him because they understood, right? He's the king of the jungle.
So let's get into the stats here.
Okay, well, hold on. Okay, so that was Sports and Fitness Rant's rant reaction to the Gil's Arena coldest killer. And I agree, it's not just, it shouldn't be just the stats. Just, he got to the quickest to this, he got the quickest to that. There's a mentality to it too. And I think that's what's missing in Gil's assessment. And I think that's what Brandon Jennings and even Nick Young were trying to reiterate with their thoughts is that he had players, teams, whatever, Jordan, speaking of Jordan, scared of him. They knew when they got to that point, when they got there against him, that they were in for a challenge. They were in for an ultimate challenge. Because as has been said many times, the Chicago Bulls were the juggernaut. They were the... Hold on 1 second. Sorry, my Google Home decided to to pick up something. I don't know. It started playing some music. But as I was saying, teams were, they were trying to game plan against Jordan. They were like, man, we got to go against Jordan. You had players talking about, you can go back to Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, David Robinson, Hakeem. We just heard about Hakeem. Reggie Miller, Patrick Ewing, the Knicks, all these different teams, they knew when they played Michael Jordan, it was going to be a challenge. It was going to be, you're playing against a player that he's not going down without a fight. Isn't that the coldest killer? The guy that is coming, and you got to do everything in your power to stop. In a sense, that was also Kobe Bryant. I look at those San Antonio Spurs teams. They had to do everything to stop him, and they still couldn't stop him. You know, they had to figure out ways to beat them, and it was tooth and nail. You know, Boston, tooth and nail. These teams, you know, to get Kobe out of there, is that not the coldest killer? You think of, you know, your Michael Myers, your Jason Voorhees, these iconic horror villains. You had to come up with some type of grand scheme to get them out of there. And then you compare him to a guy that, you know, he's got the stats. He got certain stats quick, but was he a cold killer? Were people scared of him? Teams knew what to do against him, especially early on. The San Antonio Spurs, the Dallas Mavericks, even in 2013, even though it didn't pan out the way they hoped it had with the San Antonio Spurs, they had a game plan. They knew what to do against him. It was some of the others, because as we know, they were seconds away from winning a championship. But because of certain things going on, it backfired and they failed, you know. But they had created a pretty spot-on game plan to that point of getting a W, of getting a championship. You know, yeah, I will admit, LeBron came through Game 7, you know, and of course, Game 6 had to be deflating for San Antonio Spurs. I'm not going to, you know, give them a pass. You know, I'm not doing that. But it had to be deflating to do to get to that moment where you were just seconds away. All you had to do was secure one rebound and you win a championship. And then that doesn't happen, and then you have to go back and win one more game. So, you know, to me, that's what constitutes a stone cold killer, is somebody that you have to game plan against, but you know it's coming. You know you've got to be ready for that person. And, you know, your typical game plans aren't going to work. So you're going to have to come up with a game plan that just completely, you have to come up with a game plan where you know they're going to get theirs. You just got to be ready for it. So let's get into Charles from DREAMERSPRO. He's got some numbers to throw out in this coldest killer topic.
He sent me the numbers of when LeBron hit 10,000 points versus when Jordan hit 10,000 points. And according to the data, it took Jordan 303 games to hit the 10,000 point mark. It took LeBron 368 games to reach the 10,000 point mark. Now, he brought up LeBron getting to 10,000 points before.
Let's put that into perspective. Michael Jordan pretty much missed most of his second season. I think he played 17 games regular season that whole season, and then of course he played into the playoffs, which they didn't go far. But the fact that it took him 303, LeBron 368. Okay, let's keep moving.
Kobe, which of course is true. But I want to give you guys a larger picture. LeBron did get to 10,000 before Kobe. But if you look at how many games it took Kobe to get to 30,000 points, it took him 1,180. It took LeBron 1,107. So
we got done one game before Kobe, but context matters in a lot of these situations. We know Kobe wasn't a starter his first couple of seasons, so his minutes weren't what LeBron's were. So the fact that it took LeBron just only one game prior to reach that goal. When Kobe, his first, I believe, 2 seasons, didn't even start. Well, there's some context.
The numbers aren't that far apart. They're not that far apart, but what these numbers don't show you is the context. Because if you just look at these numbers, you would think that, man, LeBron he's just a better scorer than Kobe Bryant. Because after all, that's why Gil is bringing it up. He's saying who did it faster to kind of create a picture to say, well, this guy's doing it faster, so clearly he's better. But what he's not giving you is the full picture. Because looking at that, you would think, oh, LeBron is definitely a better scorer than Kobe. But he's not. He's not. One of the reasons it took Kobe a little longer, or rather, one of the reasons LeBron was able to catch Kobe, or do it faster, rather, was because Kobe, for a certain stretch of his career, was playing with a guy that was averaging between 28 and 30 points per game. Between 28 and 30 points per game.
That's true also. I mean, I'd have to pull it up with Carmelo's numbers, but I'm guessing Carmelo had a pretty good run because he was the man. You know, when you're a number 1 draft pick and you are essentially the man on your team, you're going to have the ball a whole lot more than, guys that like Kobe was he was drafted to the Los Angeles Lakers, but he wasn't a starter. It took him a little while. He came out of college. Came out of high school, of course, but it took him a little longer to get into the lineup for those Los Angeles Lakers and to be one of the main guys. And then you bring in Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal has to get certain amount of touches. He's a center, so you got to give him the ball. So it's different when you got the ball all the time in LeBron's case and even Jordan's case. With Kobe's case, he's got to make do with what he can get. And, he might not get the ball all the time, but, he's got to work with what he has. So big difference. So let's keep it going.
That was one of the reasons.
Appreciate that, Kobe.
Shaq, for some of those years, was averaging between 28 and 30. One year he averaged, 29.7 points per game? So it's going to be really hard to rack up all of those points when you're playing alongside another bona fide scorer in Shaq. At no point in time has LeBron ever played with a teammate that can score at that level. It's only this year, in year 22, when AD is now, I think at one point was averaging 28 a game. So I think the context is important. Because if you just look at the stats and you don't put them in context, it will tell you a story that's not true. It could be misleading. So let's look at it from a larger standpoint. If Gil is saying LeBron did this better than faster than Kobe.
Quick, young disciple, why is that Kobe's fault? I mean, he's not the coach. He can't, tell the coach what's going on. He can't tell the coach that I'm getting the ball, I'm shooting every time. How is this Kobe's fault?
It must means that somehow he must be better at doing this thing than Kobe, which is scoring points. But let's look at it in terms of milestones. LeBron has played more years, but Kobe has more 40-point games. Okay, some of y'all are like, well, maybe it may just be 40-point games. Let's move. Maybe LeBron has more 50-point games. LeBron in his career in 22 years has 14 50-point games. Kobe has 25. 25. Almost double the 50-point games. Let's look at 60-point games. Well, LeBron only has one career 60-point games. Kobe has 6, and I think he had 2 in 1 week. 2 in 1 week.
He's got an 80-point game.
Not to mention the fact that Kobe scored 40 for 9 straight games. I think then James Harden broke that record, if I'm not mistaken. But to bring it into context, because Gil was talking about who killed faster, who's killing faster, who blah, 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 faster. How many 40-point games do you think Jordan has? How many 40-point games do you think Michael Jordan has? Michael Jordan has 177. Jordan has more 40-point games than Stephen Curry and LeBron James combined. And he's still ahead of them by, what, 30? Steph and LeBron combined have 145. Jordan by himself has 145, has 177. So when Gil brought up that thing about, kills and Jordan got more steals than LeBron. He does. He has more steals than him. And if you talk about effect,
so you're saying so Kobe Bryant couldn't start over Eddie Jones. I mean, who was going to? You think he was 18 high school student was going to start over Eddie Jones? Eddie Jones, like my man League TV said, he was an all-star. I mean, Kobe was good. He probably could have in the grand scheme of things, but you know, how are we going to put him over Eddie Jones?
Effectiveness, it's not even a conversation. Let me just give you guys this last piece of information here. LeBron has played for 22 seasons. Let me see something. Let me just verify this because I just want to be correct when I say it. I want to be sure how many times LeBron has made an all-defensive team. He's played for 22 years.
Before I get into that, random clips, LeBron has, hold on, let me see. LeBron has more points, rebounds, assists, and blocks. Okay, he's 6'9". He should have, if you look at the averages of shooting guards and small forwards, they usually have at least, if they're decent, at least one more rebound than a shooting guard. Assists, okay. He's a different type of player. And blocks, I mean, 6'9". He's bigger. But he doesn't have more blocks than Jordan, who is 3 inches shorter and plays a different position. But okay. Let's keep it going.
Okay. In those 22 seasons, LeBron has made an all-defensive team. Let me see. 5 firsts. No. 5 firsts. 1 second. So for 25% of LeBron's career, for 75% of LeBron's career, he was not even an all-NBA level defender. For 75% of his NBA career, he wasn't even an all-NBA caliber defensive player. But you got these clowns and jigaboos out there that want to do a special that Nick Wright and all these guys put together of the year that Michael Jordan, or the year that LeBron got robbed of a defensive player of the year, or the year that Michael Jordan didn't deserve one. Meanwhile, Jordan made 9 all-first defensive teams and has a defensive player of the year. Kobe did it 12 times. 12 times. So in terms of impact, and that's not a counting number, although you can count the appearances, you can see who had a greater impact on the team, on the game itself. And by the way, just to close this out, I decided to look at it at a 15-year window. Since Mr. Kill is faster than Jordan, Kobe, and all
real
that.
Quick, does Eddie Jones and LeBron James play the same position? Okay.
LeBron scored in 15 seasons 31,038 points. Jordan scored in 15 seasons 32,000 points. Which means that if Jordan played what, 20 years? That means that Jordan would have what? Let's see. How many points would Jordan have? 32,000. Okay. Divided by 15 is what? 2,133 times 22. It means Jordan would have 46,900 points. Or let's do 2,000. Let me just get the number again, because y'all think that LeBron is something to be compared to Michael Jordan, and I'm saying it's not. Let's just do the math in front of you guys. 32,000 divided by 15 seasons times 21 years. Since it's LeBron 22nd. So it means that Jordan, had he played as long as LeBron did, he will be sitting on 44,800 points. Now put that in your crack pipe and smoke it.
I agree. Jordan, 40 years old, he was broken down. I mean, he had the knee injury. He came in playing fairly well 2001, 2002 with the Wizards, but he got that knee injury and was never the same. I agree. I mean, he probably couldn't, well, not probably, he couldn't play 5 more years, unfortunately. But, that's the unfortunate thing of sports. So that was Dreamers Pro. You say you can cook Dreamers Pro easily. He's more of a reaction channel. I don't know if he's he can debate anything, necessarily, but he's I enjoy his content. Who did LaFraud kill? Kenji. Yeah, I mean, I guess he killed certain teams. I mean, we can speculate who he killed. He killed, I guess, whoever he played and scored, got to whatever milestone Gil was trying to talk about, but did he really kill him? This was the era of the Charlotte Bobcats. Let's remember them.